Top accolade global news. I am Soibifa Jagridge. The Israel military said it would operate significantly in Gaza City in the coming days and civilians should only return when advised. Hamas terrorists are hiding in Gaza City, inside tunnels underneath houses and inside buildings populated with innocent Gazan civilians. Israel's military on Friday called for all civilians of Gaza City, more than 1 million people, to relocate south within 24 hours as it amassed tanks nearby ahead of an unexpected ground invasion after a devastating attack by the militant group Hamas. Now is the time for war, Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said on Thursday as Israeli warplanes continued pounding Gaza in retaliation for the weekend attack by Hamas militants that killed more than 1,300 Israelis. Mostly civilians of Gaza City. Evacuate south for your own safety and the safety of your families and distance yourself from Hamas terrorists who are using you as human shields, the military said. The United Nations said it considered it impossible for such a movement of people to take place without devastating humanitarian consequences. Israel's ambassador to the UN, Gilad Erdan, described the UN response to Israel's early warning to the residents of Gaza as harmful. The UN Humanitarian Office, OCHA, said more than 400,000 people had fled their homes in Gaza and 23 aid workers had been killed since the start of Israeli retaliatory strikes in response to the deadly Hamas incursion. Israeli government showed U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and NATO Defense Ministers a graphic image of dead children and civilians. It's simply depravity in the worst imaginable way, Blinken told a news briefing. Images are worth 1,000 words. These images may be worth 1,000,000. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office also released on social media a picture of a dead infant in a pool of blood and the shared body of a child, part of an apparent effort to stoke global anger against the Gaza militants over Saturday's attack. Blinken, who flew into Tel Aviv earlier on Thursday, told reporters he was shown photographs and videos of a baby riddled with bullets, soldiers beheaded, and young people burned alive in their cars or highways. The Israeli Air Force has launched intense bombing raids on Gaza over the past 5 days, and it's massing tens of thousands of troops along the border ahead of a possible ground invasion. Children were tied up and shot. Yes, I repeat, children tied up and shot, he told fellow ministers by video link according to a text of his address sent to Reuters. U.S. Defense Secretary Lord Austin said after the NATO meeting on Thursday that Washington was not placing any conditions of its security assistance to Israel and expected Israel's proficient military to do the right thing. It is shameful that a man like that, a former U.S. president, abets propaganda and disseminate things that wound the spirit of Israel fighters and its citizens, Kahi told Israel Channel 13. It is completely lost on us while any American would ever praise an Iran-backed terrorist organization as smart. Trump, a former Republican president who is the frontrunner to become the party's 2024 presidential nominee, called the Lebanese Hezbollah a sworn enemy of Israel very smart, and accused Netanyahu of being not prepared for the Hamas attack, which also killed 22 Americans. Israeli Communication Minister Shlomo Kahi said Trump's comments to supporters and in a television interview on Wednesday night showed he could not be relied on. White House Deputy Press Secretary Andrew Bates called Trump's comments dangerous and unhinged. This is a time for all of us to stand shoulder to shoulder with Israel against unadulterated evil, Bates said on Thursday. That's what the president is doing. On Thursday evening, Trump released a statement saying there had been no better friend or ally of Israel than when he was U.S. president. Several of Trump's opponents in the Republican contest also criticized the former president. The European Commission, the bloc's executive arm, on Thursday filed a blinding request for information to determine if the platform complies with the rules on illegal and harmful content. The commission said in a statement that it launched the probe in response to indications received concerning the presumed transmission of illicit content. X has until Wednesday to respond to the most urgent questions in the 40-page document and until October 31st for less pressing requests for information. The move comes after social media platforms, including X, has featured violent content and misinformation about Israel-Hamas war, including footage from other conflicts and video games. Ex-chief executive Linda Yaccarino has defended the social media network record, pointing to the deletion of hundreds of Hamas-linked accounts and the removal of labeling of tens of thousands of pieces of harmful content under the EU's Digital Services Act, which came into effect in August. Platforms that fail to crack down on content deemed illegal can be fined up to 6% of their global turnover or even banned from operating within the bloc. UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in North Korea Elizabeth Salmon estimates that some 2,000 North Koreans are being held in China for crossing the border without permission. This follows recent reports from human rights groups claiming that as many as 600 North Koreans have been sent back. Seoul said on Friday that the report appears to be true, but did not confirm the exact number who were repatriated. Human Rights Watch HRW said the defectors, mostly women, could face imprisonment, sexual violence, or even death once back in the North. Sources in China have reported that hundreds were put on trucks and sent from their detention centers to North Korea on Monday night. The government's position is that under no circumstances should North Koreans living abroad be forcibly repatriated against their will. Forced repatriation against one's will is a violation of the international norm, refoulement, said Koo Buyong Sam, a spokesperson for the South's Unification Ministry. China does not recognize North Korean defectors as refugees. It claims that they are economic migrants and has a policy of sending them back. Despite requests from foreign governments and human rights organizations to reconsider its stance asked about the reported repatriations, China's foreign ministry spokesperson Wang Weibin said on Thursday there was no such thing as so-called North Korean defectors in China. He said Beijing upholds a responsible attitude towards North Koreans who enters China illegally for economic reasons. That is the size of top accolade global news updates. You can follow us on social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy weekend.